Hey, this is Kyle with ConvertKit. Have you ever finished making a landing page and then either just felt like it's not complete yet, or maybe it's not getting the amount of conversions you would like for it to get? Well, part of my background is user interface and user experience design. And so today I'd like to walk through a few simple tips you can use to make your landing pages stand out and grow that audience the way I know you want to. All right, so here's an example of basically what not to do. I see this kind of landing page quite a bit, and there's just a lot of words and there's a lot of things being said. I don't think any of them are incorrect things to say or things that shouldn't be said, but it's more so how all of this is arranged, how it's looking to someone who just lands on this page. It just looks like a lot to read through, and the truth is, many people online are not patient and they skim through things and they just want to know what the page is all about. So, this being presented is already probably losing a lot of conversions to subscribers because simply they just don't want to read through all of this, and there's nothing clear about what they can get on this page. For example, I have learn more here. Learn more about what? Let's look through the text here. There's no better time than now to learn about what you can do with Adobe Photoshop. So just for some context, my audience here for this page would be people who are interested in learning how to edit photos, to create these kind of digital art composites of photos like I have over here on the left side. And so I want to help them out. They don't necessarily care about Adobe Photoshop specifically. They're just more curious about how can I make something like this image over here on the left. So with that in mind, this may not be exactly what they're looking for. Also, why is there no better time? Not quite sure. There's a lot of options out there, but this course is the best one. Oh, so we're talking about a course. I did not know that we were talking about a course. So this just, the way this is written, suddenly there's a course, but we haven't mentioned that before. So, okay. Have you ever wondered how to combine images in Photoshop and make them look like they belong together? This is something I've been working on for a while now, and I've been putting my process together for a few years now, so I combined it into a course. All of that's good information, but this paragraph, for something you're reading online, especially on a landing page, is very lengthy and a little bit confusing. This next paragraph, when you take the course, you'll learn how to edit like a pro, combine photos and make amazing digital art, organize your files and export your work in the best format. So check it out. Enter your email below to get updates and see what it's all about. And then, of course, again, we have this learn more button after you enter your email address. So there's a few problems here. Of course, this is yet again another lengthy paragraph. And honestly, we aren't giving very much on this page. There's no clear direction of what this course really is. And there's also not really anything that you get from signing up. You're basically signing up so that on this page, you're basically signing up so that I can promote to you more, which in most cases will not be very compelling to people. They may rather just go look at the course landing page, think, oh, that looks interesting, and then leave. And part of the reason you want to get their email address is so you can promote to them over time and eventually convince them to take the course, to go buy that product or whatever it is you're working towards. And so this just may not convert very well at all. This image over here also is a great example of what we're talking about here, of editing things together, making digital art, those kind of things. But it's not very clear that it has any purpose. And this background is completely confusing because it's just water on a horizon. And it also kind of messes with this text a little bit. So when you get to this paragraph, you're reading through it and you suddenly get to that horizon line where the water color changes. And now it's a little bit different to read this. There's a lot of texture behind it. It's just a little harder to look through all of this text. And remember that when people land on your page, they're wanting to read through whatever's there. And so the background should not take away from that. It should add to it. but of course you can still be visually interesting. So with all of that said, oh, one more thing. This is all the same color. So this header is white, this is white, this is white. And it's not so bad to have all of your text the same general color, but we'll look at how I'm creating some contrast in the better version of this landing page that I've created. So here is the much better version of this landing page. First of all, it's very clear up front, edit like a pro. And again, people who are landing here are just interested in how do I make this thing on the left? How do I edit photos to make a cool picture? So edit like a pro, make your photos and digital art stand out. Those are the two things I really want to do on this page. I do not care specifically about Photoshop, although it's good to tell them what kind of thing you're going to teach them about. But these are the two things I really want to do as someone who's visiting this landing page. Have you ever wondered how to seamlessly combine photos in Photoshop? So asking a question here is really great. You're asking them, have you ever had this struggle? And if you can bring up that struggle and help them remember, yes, maybe that's already what they're thinking when they land on this page and they say, wow, you read my mind. I've wanted to do this. Or they say, yeah, like I have thought about that. I've just never really pursued it. I used to wonder the same thing. So relating to them, I've had the same struggle. After years of work, I've finally put my process together as a course. And if you'll notice, I've made this part bold. And the reason I did that is this helps them understand exactly what it is I'm talking about on this page. A really great thing, a really great trick that I learned from a friend of mine, Sean McCabe. You can find him at seanwest.com. But a great tip I learned from him is looking through bold and any kind of titles on your page and using those to create a story. So if we look here and we just look at the titles or the bold parts, edit like a pro, make your photos and digital art stand out. I've finally put my process together as a course. And then down here at the bottom, get a free lesson. So all of that is really straightforward. And to add to that, we have Learn Photoshop over here on the left. And so now I'm giving some context to this picture. It's a little more obvious. This is just an example. But if you read that along with the headings and the bold parts, Learn Photoshop, edit like a pro, make your photos and digital art stand out. I've finally put my process together as a course, get a free lesson. So someone who skims, who just lands on this page and is mildly interested, can at least look through those things and say, oh, yeah, obviously I want a free lesson. That's awesome. Sure, I'll sign up for that. Someone who actually reads through this will get to this next part. So I finally put together my process as a course, so you can stop wondering and start creating. You'll learn, and then rather than putting these in a single sentence, I literally just took this sentence here. When you get the course, you'll learn how to edit like a pro, combine your photos, etc., etc. Put those into a bullet list, because bullet lists are a lot easier to skim through and look at and see, okay, what are the things I could get out of this? How to edit photos like a pro, combine photos together to make amazing digital art, organize your Photoshop files, and export your work in the best format. That also walks through exactly the full process of what's going to happen here. Enter your email below to get one free lesson and see what it's all about. So now I know, okay, I enter my email address, I click get a free lesson, and now I'm on the list. And I guess it goes without saying, but this page is much more of a giving page. I'm offering one free lesson to get them in the door and help them out, and then promote to them and hopefully convert them into a customer of the course itself that I'm selling. So there's a few things going on here that I just want to mention. There's contrast. So this background, rather than being that kind of sea landscape there, rather than being that and having some kind of different color backgrounds going on, a lot of texture kind of messing with the text here, I've opted to go for a pattern. So this pattern still has some movement and texture to it, but it's not taking away from this text, and it's still creating some visual interest. I also decided to put Learn Photoshop on this photo so that it's a little more understandable what you're looking at. So you're not just looking at a picture of a house floating in a desert. It's just an example of what can happen if you learn Photoshop. And for someone who doesn't know what Photoshop is when they first land on this page, I think the rest of the page does a great job explaining that. And if they get the free lesson, they'll also see that it's Photoshop and know it from there. The other thing to note here is just the use of colors. So this, I mentioned this was all white here. So all this text is white and it all kind of runs together other than the size. Here on this page, it may look like it's all white still, but it feels like things flow a little better. Part of it's the simplification of the copy on the page, but I've also done a little trick that I like to do on landing pages, which is make this title at the top completely white, or if you're working with a white background, completely black or close to black, maybe a really dark gray. This is fully white. And then this next part here is actually not white, even though it kind of looks like it should be a similar color. It's a little bit gray. And I did that just to fade it a little bit. So you can see if it's fully white, it starts to blend together with the title and all of those things, just like on the other page. But if I move it down a little bit, we start to get some contrast between the two, and the title is what's the most important. Like I said, for skimmers, it's learn Photoshop, edit like a pro, make your photos and digital art stand out, and get a free lesson. So if someone's skimming through, those are the things you really want them to see. Also, this bullet list, as I mentioned, is great for skimmers. And the use of color here is very, very intentional. So back on this page, we had some different colors kind of going on. We had this blue. The blue stands out, but it doesn't stand out too much because the background is kind of a blue a little bit. And so on this page, the blue definitely stands out. I made the background a gray just to help that blue stand out. It's the exact same blue as over here, but it stands out a little better. I also put blue behind this Learn Photoshop area. So if somebody lands on this page and they only look at the colors, they'll see Learn Photoshop, get a free lesson. That may entice them right there to sign up. And it's really quick and really simple. So anyway, I could talk about this kind of stuff forever, but I hope these tips have helped you to structure your landing pages in a way that converts your visitors into subscribers, because I believe you're working on some amazing things, and I know that people should be signing up for them, and they may not be simply because of how that landing page is set up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.